Good afternoon. I'm meteorologist Dana Osgood, and it is time for the 3 p.m. update for the storm we have going through. We have a lot of crews all across the state today, from areas in Portland to up in Bangor. So we've got a lot of our crews being able to tell us what we got going on outside. We have Jess in the Weather Center with some additional information. But first, we're going to start out with what the radar looks like and what we're expecting as the rest of this forecast continues to progress. So what the radar looks like right now, we have seen some breaks in precipitation, like areas north of Portland and along the 295 corridor and areas along down East Main a couple of hours ago. But we still have a lot of precip still coming, and it's been coming in a lot of different forms as well. So we started to see some sleet moving in, though actually in Portland we've been flipping back and forth between sleet and snow for the past couple of hours. We just had someone outside before and they said that it was actually snowing again. So even though it is showing some sleet here in Portland, the radar's a little bit confused sometimes when it's really right on that edge. And we have a lot of that heavier precip starting to move in once again after we had a brief break for the last half an hour. We also had a pretty heavy band of snow that moved through areas of Bangor. At this point, it's pushed a little bit farther north near the Greenbush and Great Pond areas, so still seeing fairly moderate snowfall there, but the break that we had in Portland before will be getting closer to Bangor within kind of the next half an hour to hour or so. But we still have a lot of precip to contend with. If you look down in areas like southern New England or back into New York, seeing a lot of sleet, freezing rain, even some plain rain in areas near like Cape Cod, Nantucket, and Rhode Island. So it is going to start to get a little bit colder as we get up farther north, so we're going to have to contend with some more frozen precipitation types, but that means we do have that chance of some more sleet and some more freezing rain. We also have several more hours of precip to go. This is a very long duration storm. The next thing that we're going to be watching closely, see the pink color in areas of central Massachusetts? That's the freezing rain signature, which means we're going to watch pretty closely as that continues to move farther north towards us here in Maine. And if we time that out a little bit, kind of within the next couple of hours or so, we'll start to see that precip move up here, and that's where we have that chance of some of that freezing rain along the immediate coastline, which we haven't seen too much so far, but that's the kind of the precip type that we're trying to avoid in total because it is such a hassle and can cause some power outages. This system as a whole is extremely dynamic. We have a lot of that heavy snow up north, the mixed precipitation in the middle, and then all the way down along the cold front is where we have some plain rain kind of off the coast of New Jersey. So a lot of precip for us still left to go. Most of it, though, will be in that frozen variety. Depending on how hard it's snowing or sleeting where you are, visibility has been pretty low throughout much of the day, only about half a mile there along the coastline, a little bit higher in areas inland, but along like the I-95 corridor, it has down to like a 45-mile-per-hour speed limit if you're going to be out driving. I recommend, if you don't have to go out, that you probably wouldn't want to, just because of the amount of snow, sleet, and freezing rain that we've seen so far today. It's definitely kind of a mess out there. And we've kind of been making jokes all day of the fact that Portland has remained 22 degrees for the entire day. So you might be noticing we're talking about different precipitation types, but all of our temperatures are well below freezing. But sometimes our precipitation type is determined by air aloft, meaning air that's above the ground. If you're seeing snow, it's that because the entire column is below freezing. So you would start as snow up in the cloud, it remains cold, and then you end up with snow on the ground. But sleet and freezing rain are a bit different. For example, sleet starts out as snow, however, it enters an area of some warmer air and is able to melt. But then it's able to refreeze before it hits the ground. But instead of making another snowflake, it makes these kind of ice pellets. You can hear them pinging against the ground. And freezing rain is the most pesky precipitation type. It's able to melt all the way because of the area of warm air aloft is pretty thick, but then it's able to freeze on contact because the ground itself is colder. That's what we were worried about right along the immediate coastline, where it could be some warm air aloft, but some cold air right at the surface. So over the next few hours, we are going to watch that precip shield once again begin to fill in. We still have several more hours to go, and we're going to see that mixed precipitation line move all the way up into areas like the foothills and just south of places like Greenville or Millinocket. So it will go fairly far inland, with the exception of the mountains, and northern Maine will remain as snow for the duration of that system. And on the back end, as it kind of pulls in a little bit more colder air aloft, we actually could see some snow showers as this system is exiting, which would be at about midnight in areas of western Maine. It'll take a little bit longer to exit in northern and eastern Maine. Could see some snow showers throughout the day, especially areas inland as we get into the day Monday. If you've already switched over to sleet, I would say you're probably not going to see too much more snow than what you already have. 6 to 10 in general areas north of areas like Lewiston and Bangor. And then the jackpot totals are going to be in northern Maine where they remain the most snow, 10 to 18 inches there. And we're also watching for that ice potential. We've seen that sleet so far. More likely that we would see sleet in areas inland, and we're still watching for that threat of freezing rain right along the coastline, hoping to avoid that because that's the one that causes those power outages. Even just a little bit of ice can really cause a lot of issues, especially when we're looking at about a quarter to even like a half an inch of ice. So if you think about it, snow totals, you can see a lot of high numbers there and it wouldn't have as big of an impact, but ice can be really damaging. And then tomorrow it's going to be extremely windy. There's already a wind advisory in effect for gusts possible up to 60 miles per hour in western Maine, so that could cause some power outages as well. If you do see some of that freezing rain or that heavier snow could get taken out by some of those higher wind gusts.